You've always been told that abs are made in the kitchen, your abs are underneath, and you just need to get into a calorie deficit in order to reveal your abs. That's not wrong, however, that's just one piece of the puzzle. It would completely suck if you did follow the advice, go through months of hard work, starving yourself, feeling like shit, and end up not seeing your abs at all. I used to be a really deep believer in that as well. However, after realizing this extra one piece of the puzzle that was missing, it was game changing. Today, I'll be sharing with you how the saying abs are made in the kitchen came about, and then I'll be sharing with you the extra one piece of the puzzle that is missing in order to actually get your abs. First, let's just break down the saying of abs are made in the kitchen. How did this even came about? This actually means that the focus is actually on your diet. What is the food that you're preparing in the kitchen? What are you actually consuming on a daily basis? Ultimately, when you focus on your diet, the goal is to actually be in a calorie deficit. What is a calorie deficit? I'm sure all of you have already heard of it before, but I'll just briefly explain it over here. Calorie deficit happens when your calories out is actually greater than your calories in. So let's first explain the non-activity calories out. Your body actually has a basal metabolic rate, which is the calories that your body burns in order to sustain itself. This can be through breathing, circulation, and cell functioning, etc. The other part of non-activity calories out also comes from when your food is being digested. When you actually consume food such as carbohydrates, an example is bread, the carbohydrates don't just get digested straight into your body. It has to be broken down into a simpler form called glucose in order to actually be absorbed by your body and eventually be used as energy. Then you also have the activity related calories out. First of all, it can be from non-exercise activities such as walking, doing household chores, etc. And the other form is from exercise, which is something that you're more familiar with. It can be from running, biking, etc. Any kind of cardiovascular activity. Calories in is just mainly from the foods that you consume on a daily basis through your diet. In trying to get a calorie deficit and focusing on that saying of abs are made in the kitchen, what you want to focus on for your diet is that you want to be actually eating lean sources of protein. This includes chicken breast, fish, lean beef, lean pork, all kinds of lean proteins. This will be lower in calories because of the lower amount of fat that they contain. You also want to be consuming complex carbohydrates. This can actually make you more full. An example is sweet potatoes or just potatoes in general. Following these general guidelines for a diet will ensure that you will be in a calorie deficit as compared to a diet that is more high in fat. If you want a more in-depth guide on how you can actually create a calorie deficit in order to get your abs, you can check out my guide over here. I've previously made a video on it before. It also contains general principles of how you can actually get your abs, but it will be focusing mainly on the calorie deficit process. In addition to that video, I also have a more detailed guide on how you can actually get abs with a 9 to 5. I've actually made an ebook of it. You can check it out. Inside it contains a really detailed description of foods that you can eat when trying to be in a calorie deficit and also still feeling rather full while still being in a calorie deficit to facilitate this weight loss. It also contains a 12-week action plan that you can follow in order to actually progressively create a deeper and deeper calorie deficit as your body adapts to you trying to reduce your weight. Now let's just get into the main piece of the puzzle that I've been saying from the start of the video, which is what is that extra one piece of puzzle that you need other than just following the saying of abs are made in the kitchen. And that one piece of the puzzle is actually training your abs. Abs are revealed in the kitchen, not made in the kitchen. Abs are actually made in the gym or just through hard work, hard exercise. It's when you're actually building your abs. If you don't have anything that is built, then how can you actually reveal something that hasn't been built? So that's actually the missing piece to the puzzle. You have to be building your abs, be crafting your abs in order to ultimately reveal them in its finest form. The process of building your abs actually makes them bigger and more visible. Why? You can imagine your belly as like a wall, and if there's a bigger ab muscle that is actually protruding out of the wall, obviously you will be able to see the abs more clearly and even at a faster rate. You don't have to be as low as a body fat in order to actually see those abs. When it comes to training your abs, it's very similar to any other muscle group. We're going to talk about frequency first. And for frequency, you want to aim for about 2 to 6 sets total per session, doing this 2 to 3 times a week. This can be done with, let's say example, 1 to 2 exercises per session. And for intensity, you need to be actually training very close to failure like any other muscle group. Pushing close to failure provides the most optimal stimulus for muscle growth. You observe that when you're actually pushing close to failure, your reps involuntarily start to slow down. And during this process of the involuntarily slowing down of your reps is actually when you're producing the most mechanical tension on the target muscle, which is the ultimate driver of muscle growth. There are two key exercises that you want to be focusing on when trying to build your abs. The first one will be a movement that is biasing the upper abs. You can think of any crunching kind of motion, such as a cable crunch, or also any kind of weighted decline sit-up where you're in that crunching motion. The second kind of exercise that you want to be focusing on is actually one that's biasing the lower abs. You can think of a hanging leg raise or a leg raise with the captain's chair, or even a decline leg raise, any sort of that motion. When it comes to actually performing these exercises, the main thing that you want to be focusing on is actually rounding your back. For movements that are biasing the upper abs, think of rounding your upper back and trying to get your elbows to actually touch your knees in this case. And for movements that are biasing the lower abs, you want to be thinking of actually like rounding your pelvis such that you're showing your butt to the world, because you want to really focus on that rounding motion in order to actually engage your abs instead of just engaging your hip flexors. Here's a sample workout plan that you can follow that makes use of the principles that I've shared previously. This will be in a 4-day workout split of upper lower split, and we'll be training abs 3 times a week in this case. The first one is on upper A, where you'll be doing a decline leg raise, which is more of a lower ab focused exercise, and just doing one exercise 3 sets. You can do another exercise if you want. And for Thursday, it's more of an upper ab focused exercise. We'll be doing the cable crunch in 3 sets as well. And for Saturday, it's a weighted decline sit-up, focusing on the crunching motion as well for the upper abs in 3 sets as well. You can have more exercises or more sets if you want. However, I recommend sticking to a maximum of 2 exercises for each session and no more than 6 sets total. When you're doing these exercises week on week, the most important thing that you want to focus on is actually making sure that you're progressively overloading. This ensures that you're actually building muscle in your abs. So what is progressive overload first of all? It's when you're able to do more reps of a given weight, or more weight for a given number of reps at a specific intensity, meaning reps to failure, and for the same technique, meaning that your form doesn't change over time. The ability to actually progressive overload over time is a very good sign of muscle growth, because progressive overload is actually the result of the adaptations of the muscles after you put them through all the stimulus through resistance training. This means that more likely than not, your muscles have actually increased in size so that they are actually able to produce more force, and thus you're able to actually lift more weight or more reps. I hope you guys found this video helpful and also informational in that missing piece of the puzzle other than just following the saying of abs are made in the kitchen. It's true that abs are made in the kitchen through your diet, through a calorie deficit. However, you also have to make sure that you're actually training and building your abs so that they can eventually be revealed in the kitchen. Do like and comment on the video, and also subscribe if you found these types of videos informational and helpful. It will really be very helpful for me, and I'll see you guys in the next video.